Bitcoin is diving right now. It feels almost like a mini crash, but of course it's not. So I wanted to quickly address with you guys what is going on. I just did a video a couple of days ago pointing out this really steep short-term uptrend. And we broke through that yesterday, and we seem to be diving further down. So this might feel really, really horrible because everything is red today in the market. So if we take a look at CoinMarketCap, we can see pretty much everything is red with a couple of exceptions. I see shadow cash here, which I don't understand at this point. Somebody told me that I have to take a look at it, which I will do. Unfortunately, I can't know all 700 crypto coins. Ripple to me is kind of something special. I don't really touch it because it is pre-mined at such a high rate. And so we see basically everything is red. What happened here?
China.
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 China. China.
As always, it's China, China, China.
I have to have my China.
So we've had this issue with China a couple of weeks ago where basically the Chinese central bank came in and basically slapped all the Chinese exchanges without shutting them down. As a result, nobody can withdraw money from Chinese exchanges. And the Chinese exchanges just said this is going to keep going on until we get approval from the Chinese central bank that we can actually let withdrawals happen. So right now, the only way you can withdraw in China is through fiat money at these exchanges. This, of course, has killed the trading in China. It just has moved a lot of trading over or away from China. And so right now the market is driven by the United States.
USA! USA! USA!
So back to the chart, what this basically means is that this is just another one of these China stories. So take a look at this chart here, this big crash. This is basically what happened after the initial announcement that you can't withdraw money from Chinese exchanges anymore. So we've had this China story all the time. It's nothing new. Don't freak out about it. Not a big deal. If you just entered the market, there is nothing to worry about. This little uptrend, it can't go on in this sort of steep up rally forever. So it's not a big deal that we broke through. It would have been really nice if this kind of upper limit of the previous uptrend would have become the supporting line, but that has not happened, although we are still in this candle, so technically it could, but I just don't think that's going to happen. So what is going to be interesting now is this line going to hold? This is the previous all-time high. Is this going to hold? That would be beautiful because then we can bounce against that and go up. What is going to happen at the end of this week is the decision for the ETF. And so most likely this will be a negative decision for Bitcoin. So it's very likely that we will break through this downwards and then hit some of these uptrends. First of all, what I really want to do, there's a new uptrend forming that I haven't put into here. So if we're lucky, and this would be phenomenal, this is going to hold. However, I really think that this is a very, very steep uptrend. So who knows? It really depends probably on the decision. But there is a little bit of support here that could keep us above this line. We'll see. Now, in general, about the ETF, I think there's a lot more up potential than down potential. If the ETF does not get approved, it doesn't really change anything of the status quo. The Bitcoin status quo doesn't change. I've read reports that said Bitcoin's going to crash down to 500 if there's a no. I don't think so. People think that there's only like 25% chance that the decision is going to be positive. So most people do not accept a positive decision. However, if the positive decision happens, I think it's going to be very likely that Bitcoin will explode. Even though I think that would be an exaggeration. But generally, I think the risk downwards is not as high as the upward potential with the decision, because if the answer is no, nothing changes. Bitcoin is still the same that it is today. We don't need that thing. So it's not a big deal. So don't worry about it too much, but do expect some turmoil at the end of this week, early next week, when this happens. Yeah, so this is what we have with Bitcoin. If we take a look at Ethereum, well, Ethereum is kind of course, also going down. I'm not sure what's going to happen here. We have the all-time high at about 20. We're not going to go through that in the next couple of days. So with Ethereum, we really just have to see what's going to happen. It really looks like we have to kind of find ourselves here a little bit. As long as we stay above the $15, I would just be very, very happy here. I think there's some natural consolidation that is going to happen. Very interesting here that the moving average so far is holding. So we'll see what's going to happen. I really can't predict very well what's going on here. So if I have my Ethereum and I'm just going to let them run, I wouldn't enter the market right now. I would wait till we are kind of down here and have shown some signs that the $15 mark is holding. Or if we break through the all-time high, then this would also be a technical signal to go back into the Ethereum market. All right, that's all I'm going to cover right now. Relax, think of the long-term trend, and watch kind of the longer-term uptrend. Again, it would be beautiful if we hold here. If we crash down, you know, here around the 960 range is very likely where we could end up bouncing back up again. But if that doesn't hold, also not a big deal. As long as we stay above this 780, I think the overall uptrend is just there. Ideally, we would stay here above $1,000 mark. So right now, the $1,000 mark, I think, is something that should hold. And if it holds, it's really, really, really positive. So think about the ETF when it comes down. Are we going to stay above 1,000, or are we going to go down to the 760? If we break through this uptrend, that would really be a bad sign, a really strong sign of weakness, in my opinion. I don't think this is going to happen, and you have to decide what sort of risk you want to take and how long you want to hold Bitcoin as we are going down. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video. Give me some feedback, and until next time.
China. 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 People from China, they love me. Right. China. 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 In China, they say I don't like China. I love China. People think I don't like China. I love China. China. China is the new China, by the way. China. 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 I deal with China. 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 Big league. China. So don't tell me about China. I know China. 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 Whether it's China, China. So if you went to China and you wanted to get a job in China, I don't knock China. How could I dislike China? A man from China. China. You have China. Carl, take China. 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 China's over here. Look at what China's doing. They're learning from China. 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 Okay? Look at that. Isn't that nice? China. 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 China, 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 China.